What's up, Brooklyn? What's up, New York City? I want to just send prayers for the memory of Eric Garner, the memory of all the people who have died and their families who have found amazing strength somehow to keep the struggle going. I'm looking out in the crowd because a couple of weeks ago, I saw a lot of people crying and mourning about what happened in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was wondering if any of them would show up here. Because I found that it's easy to cry and mourn when something slaps you in the face that you can't ignore, but when it's time to fight and to break down the systems of what racism is, sometimes they are nowhere to be found. As if the flag in Charleston had come down 5 years ago, Willie Scott would not have been shot down like a runaway slave.
That's right.
As if that flag coming down means that the poverty rate has changed in the black community.
That's right.
Nothing has really changed, but
That's right.
I am encouraged because you look around across the country and you see young black brothers and sisters taking up the mantle of leadership, bringing us forward as they should. That gives me strength, as they say, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired and making their voices being heard. It gives me strength also as I looked around, even here. In the past few months, I saw young brothers and sisters, young non-black brothers and sisters holding up signs that said, "Black Lives Matter." Yeah. American injustice, you in trouble now.
Yeah.
Systemic racists, you in trouble now.
Yeah.
They're holding up signs. It doesn't say all lives matter, even though that's a fact.
That's right.
It doesn't say white lives matter, even though that's a fact.
Yes.
But they understand every single day in this country, that message is already reinforced.
Yes.
So they hold up signs that say purely, Black Lives Matter, so that can stand on its own.
Yes.
So you're in trouble now, because I heard when people say, I've heard people say when people are united, they cannot be defeated.
That's right.
I saw a speech, actually it was an interview with James Baldwin in Paris in the 60s. He said, how long must we wait for your justice? He said, actually, how long must we wait for your freedom? And I asked today, how long must we wait for your justice? How long must we wait before we understand that the people who are suffering the worst now are the look like the people who were brought here in slavery as property, not by coincidence, but by design? How long must we wait? How long must we be content when things are getting better? We want them best. How long must we wait before we understand we're tired of things changing? We want them changed. How long must we wait before we understand that it's immoral to send more police officers, as much as they may have good intent, to communities without sending a commensurate amount of jobs, without fixing the educational system, without fixing the housing? How long must we wait before we understand that? So I'm proud because I know we're gonna stand strong and we're gonna stand tall and we're gonna continue to be united. We can organize on a dime to disrupt the peace. Yes, if you don't understand justice, you shouldn't understand peace. And I thank Twitter, and I thank Facebook, and I thank Instagram. We will stay united from Queens to Ferguson, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, from the Bronx to Baltimore, from Staten Island to Charleston, South Carolina. We know one day when the glory comes, we will be ours. It'll be ours. Oh, one day when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory. God is with us. We are on the righteous path. We are walking right. God bless and justice.
Let me say, first of all, to all of us that have come out to stand in front of the Justice Department's Eastern District Courthouse today. We are here because The assumption by those in power is that when something happens, we will be angry for a few weeks and then move on.
That's right.
Then they will start pitting us against each other.
That's right.
And we start fighting about who is doing something rather than getting something done.
That's right.
And by the time you get down a couple of months, you have more infighting in the movement than the movement fighting our collective enemies. We wanted to come today to say 1 year and 1 day later that just like we stood on the first Saturday after Eric Garner was choked to death, we stand together today by the hundreds saying we don't care how long it takes. We want justice for Eric Garner. We can't breathe and we need to breathe. Labor and civil rights groups and young activists, old activists, half-dead activists, white, black, Latino, Asian, gay, straight, undecided, we all here together. Now, the importance of that is, we knew from day one that we had a no chance to get an indictment in Staten Island. They keep talking about the grand jury turned us down. We don't even know what the grand jury saw.
That's right.
Because they won't release the minutes.
That's right.
We know the politics of local grand juries. We know that grand juries are guided by prosecutors. And even the chief judge say you can prosecute a ham sandwich if you want.
That's right.
Well, it means you cannot prosecute one if you want. We weren't looking for nothing there. But just like they like to remember the 60s, well, let's talk about the 60s. They like to talk about Dr. King. I co-chaired the anniversary of the March on Washington. I co-chaired 40th anniversary of his assassination with his children. So let's talk about Dr. King. Dr. King and those in the South could not depend on the local law enforcement. They had to appeal to the federal government and the Justice Department to bring them justice in Alabama and Georgia.
That's right.
We come today to say we cannot depend on local law enforcement. In the name of Dr. King and others, we're asking the federal government to come in and bring justice for Eric Garner. Isn't it interesting? Garner was the first case, and then Ferguson, and on and on.
Yes.
When it got to North Charleston with the Scott case, Walter Scott, and we headed down there, the mayor and the prosecutor arrested that policeman that day and charged him, which means the South is moving quicker than the North. If you look at New York and Baltimore and other places, the North has got to catch up.
That's right.
And the only way it will catch up is if the federal government respects the civil rights of its citizens.
Tell the truth.
Eric Garner had the civil right to stand on that street and not be choked to death by law enforcement. He had the civil right that when he said, I can't breathe, to expect that law enforcement would take their arms off of his throat and release him and let him live. Eric Garner had the civil right to expect that first responders would respond to his medical condition laying on that street. We need federal intervention on the civil rights of Eric Garner. We also just saw the fight about the flag in South Carolina. When I went to the funerals and spoke at one, the governor there turned and said they're going to take the flag down. But what about right here in New York? Right here in Brooklyn, on a military base, Fort Hamilton. There's a street named after Robert E. Lee, the general of the Confederate Army. And they say, well, we named the street to reconcile and bring us together. How can you reconcile with the general of a treason army? How can you reconcile with one that fought to keep us enslaved and gave the right to lynch? You need to take that street down. We can't have that in New York. Why do we rally today? Why do we march? Because the flag wouldn't have came down if we hadn't rallied. The governor did the right thing with a special prosecutor, but we've got to keep it, and they won't keep it if we don't rally, and he wouldn't have done it had we not rallied. They're putting cameras on police in other cities because of the Garner movement. We will not stop rallying. We will not stop marching. We will not stop gathering. We will not stop coming together. 1 year later, we still here. You call us names, but we still here. You tried to scandalize us, but we still here. We are not going anywhere. Today is the birthday of Nelson Mandela. He sat in jail 27 years. We'll wait, we'll stand, we will not be turned around. I want to bring a lady that has stood and showed great strength and great courage. From day one when we talked, she said, all I want is justice. They gave them a settlement this week, and I give credit that they did not make this family suffer through the indignities of a civil trial and settled it, nor the expense on the city. They'd rather spend $15 million fighting, but they went ahead and settled. But she called me, the first thing said, before I agree to this, I want you to know that money can never replace my husband, and money is not justice. And I want you to promise you're gonna keep fighting no matter how much they give. I said, money never was justice. We got money settlements before. It ain't about that. None of us get any of that. The family gets that insured because they had the loss. New York did not donate something to these families. They lost something. You handled what was lost. And she's here and been here every day, been at every week's rally and still coming, because this is settled in civil court, but it's not settled in the courts of justice. It's not settled on the streets of our community. It's not settled in the hearts of freedom fighters. I bring to you the widow of Eric Garner, Sister Esau Snipes Garner.
Oh my God.
Not done.
Woo.
Not done.
I can't breathe.
We love you. We love you. Not done.
You know I never prepare a speech. I always speak from my heart. And that's all I know how to do. I can't be nobody but me.
Go ahead.
And I just want to thank all you guys and everybody all over the United States, the world, that have supported me and my family, my children, and y'all keep me empowered to speak. I get nervous sometimes, but soon as I see you guys' faces and I know that you're here to support me, I get really, really strong. You know, I feel like a bike with a kickstand. You know, I feel like a flat balloon until I see you. You inflate me and you make me larger than I could ever be. I would have never thought in a million years that I would be able to speak in front of all you people and do the things that I need to do for my husband. But he did everything he could to take care of me for the last 28 years. Whether it was sweeping a storefront or whatever he had to do, selling incense, t-shirts, whatever, to take care of me and my kids. He never abandoned me, not for 1 second. Did he ever stop loving me? And I will not stop loving him. And I will not stop fighting for him. And like Reverend said, I want to thank the Reverend Al Sharpton from the bottom of my heart. I always make the joke that he's my dad, but he's my dad and they're my Nan family, and all you guys are my family now. And I love you guys, and thank you, and keep coming out to support, because as long as you support me, I'll keep fighting to get justice for Eric, Ramarley, Mike, and all the rest. I can't remember too many names right now, but my heart is with you as well as your heart is with me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming out.
Now we have the mothers coming a little later on the program, but I want you to know, showing the unity, this is the kind of person she is. Constance marched from her press conference, and we join in calling for Southern District to indict on Ramarley Graham, and marched here and is with us, Constance Malcolm, and we're gonna hear from her. But I want y'all to know, we're all working together. We're at Easton, but we support the effort for Ramarley Graham. One of the most despicable acts we've seen, to shoot a young man in the bathroom of his house in front of his grandmother and his brother. We need to never let them at rest on Ramarley Graham, and we're gonna hear from them. But let me first bring one of the daughters of Eric Garner, who has become an activist reborn and started working diligently for justice for her father. She's now on staff at National Action Network, and she and Kirsten John Ford really coordinated today and said, I said, y'all think y'all can get a few hundred people? Well, look, y'all put the coalition together, and this has been a big gathering 1 year later. Let us hear from National Action Network staff member, daughter of Eric Garner, Emerald Garner.
Hello, everyone. I just want to first thank everyone for coming out. Like, this is beautiful. This is what keeps us going. This is what makes us want to get up and come out and fight for justice every day. It's the support from the community and the people all around the world. It is just amazing. We chose to take over this weekend for Eric Garner. So yesterday we did things, today we're doing things, tomorrow we're doing things, and I just want to thank everybody for their support. You know, we all can't be in the same place at one time, but we're all making a difference across the United States. My father was a family person, so I'm sure he's looking down at us and saying, wow, all of you guys came out to support us. My father always loved a big gathering or a big family function, or, you know, that's all we remember as children. So for this weekend, we decided to remember him for the person who he was, for the person he was. A family-oriented person, and of course my father. And I had 22 years with him. I can sit and tell stories forever about my father. So I feel like it's my duty to share what he's taught me with the world. So again, thank you so much for everyone and their support. I thank my Nan family, I thank everyone around the world, and I thank Reverend Sharpton especially, because he has been a big help to the family. If I call him, he pick up the phone, hey, what's going on? You know, I send an email, I call, Mr. Hardy has been in our corner from the beginning, and my time at National Action Network is not easy working with crisis, but I feel like it's my duty to help people who support us. So I just want to say thank you again. I love you guys.
I want to say thank you for everybody that's been supporting the Garner family. Also my family. It's been 3.5 years, and 1 year later, we're still here, and we have no justice for Eric or Ramarley. It's a shame. We shouldn't have to wait 3.5 years or a year to get justice. We shouldn't have to fight for it in the manner that our loved one was killed. It's a shame. This country is coming, I don't know what it is coming to be honest. Because if you're in your own home, and a cop that you tell your kid to run to whenever they have a problem, could break in your home without a warrant and kill them. I don't understand why the DOJ doesn't move swiftly and stop dragging their feet. Pre-Baharo, I'm telling you, you need to move on this case right now. It's been 3.5 years. We are tired of waiting. Ramarley deserves justice. I deserve answer. I also have another family I want to recognize, the Jason Tirado family. His sister-in-law Nancy is here. Jason Tirado was murdered by an off-duty officer that was drinking in a bar with a DA, and there was a road rage, and he shot him and left for 19 hours and disappeared. And they came back and said he think he killed somebody, and he was never charged. So this are the problem we have to deal with. That's why we have to take away the power from the DA, and we did it. We fought and we did it. All the moms came together and stand up and said, we ain't gonna take it no more. It wasn't for our kids, it wasn't for our loved ones, it's for your family that potential to be next. So we want to say, we just want to we want a permanent, we want it to be permanent, not just for 1 year. And I also want to thank the Justice Committee and the Justice League for pushing and standing behind us, and Donna Lieberman. Thank you. And we're going to keep on fighting because justice must prevail. Thank you.
Don't look up. Don't look at the sky. We don't care. We don't care about no little bit of rain. We know how to stop the rain. And we also know how to stop these cops from killing our babies, our brothers and our sisters. There is a reason why we are here in this spot. Look over there. That's the federal courthouse. We're here to send a message that says, enough is enough. Today it stops here. It is time for some justice. It is justice time. A year, really? A year? 3 years for the family of Ramarley Graham? Come on. You know, I love Loretta Lynch.
Me too.
But here's my message to you, Sister Lynch. If you can indict FIFA, you can bring an indictment in the Eric Garner case that I'm in right now. We want an indictment, and we want it with the quickness. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired for people to do the right thing. My grandmother used to say, girl, it's mind over matter.
That's right.
They don't mind because you don't matter. Really? Well, I'm here to tell you, from the Black Institute, yes, Black lives do matter. And you better pay that some mind. On August 6th, it will be the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. 50 years. 50. And it took 50 years to bring down the Confederate flag in South Carolina. Well, we're not going to wait to have these 50-year anniversaries. 1 year is enough for Eric Garner's family. 3 years is enough for Ramarley Graham's family. Enough is enough. And if we do not get justice, yes, there will be no peace. No justice! No justice! All right, power to y'all people.
And I love you too. Buenos dias. Good morning, sisters and brothers. Over 200 years ago, this country was founded, built on slavery, on the exploitation of our ancestors that were kidnapped in Africa. Today, what we're seeing with the rise of police brutality, racism, anti-immigrant xenophobia is the systemic remnants of that legacy. It is systemic racism that we still have to struggle in this country, and even after the civil rights struggle of the 60s and having an African American president in the White House, this expression of racism still exists. And we are committed, and on behalf of 1199 SEIU and 400,000 members from Massachusetts to Florida, we are here today with you to say, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. The criminal justice reform needs to happen in this country. Next year, there will be presidential elections. Are we going to stay silent and allow every debate about everything, free trade, the Trans-Pacific trade, and every other trade, or are we going to put the question of justice reform, police brutality on the national table in this country? We demand from Staten Island to Ferguson, no justice, no peace. For Staten Island to Harlem, no justice, no peace. From Staten Island to the Bronx, no justice, no peace. 1 year later, we are here in front of a federal court to demand that we're still waiting for justice, and we will not stop marching, protesting, and shouting, no justice, no peace. And in closing, I would like to share with you that over 20 years ago, I got arrested a number of times in the Bronx for the killing of a brother, Anthony Baez. And we got justice for Anthony Baez. And Officer Libori was indicted when the feds indicted Officer Libori. And we know that there will be no justice until the feds indict Pantaleo and he is charged with the crime he committed. I would like to share a slogan from the Latino, the Hispanic community, which we say in Spanish, el pueblo unido jamás será vencido. And in English, I want to share with you, the people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. Thank you, sisters and brothers. And 1199 is in the house.
Representing the 16th District in the Bronx. I'm proud to be here with my brothers and sisters in the struggle. I am proud to chair the Committee on Public Safety at the City Council in recognizing that there is power in the people. Thank you all to all of our leaders in the labor movement, my brothers and sisters in clergy,
our faith leaders, all of my elected colleagues, thank you so much for your presence and your participation today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the crossroads. We come together in faith, with principle, with a plan, and with a purpose. We will continue to stand together, to walk together, to pray together until justice is served. That's right. We recognize that our nation is looking at the city of New York. They are looking at us to see what are we going to do. The fact that we continue to call the names of Eric Garner, Ramarley Graham, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, Anthony Baez, Tamir Rice, and so many others. We remember those lives that were lost. We will not let their deaths be in vain, but their deaths will serve, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, as a catalyst for reform, for renewal, and for a reaffirmed commitment to the people, to justice, to equality, and to fairness. How many times, brothers and sisters, must we continue to stand and gather and talk about all the wrongs in our community? Instead, we are coming together saying that we are tired. No more. This collective journey, this collective position that we are taking is calling on our federal government to recognize that there is an injustice in our nation. We must recognize the work that needs to be done. My brothers and sisters, do not give up. There are too many of our young brothers and sisters who are dying senselessly, and we cannot accept that. These are our children, brothers and sisters. So I am here standing with all of you in a call to action to make sure that our voices are heard, from the Bronx to Brooklyn, from Brownsville to Bed-Stuy to Buffalo, every place in this state and in this country. Our voices will not be shut down. We will continue to stand together because we recognize that in the people there is power, right? In the people there is power. Justice and civil rights for all. Justice and civil rights for all. So, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, I stand with you. Be encouraged to be empowered, that your voice matters. All lives matter. And as long as we stand together, we will continue to fight the power and stand together. God bless you all. Power to the people.
Good afternoon. I'm going to keep my remarks very short. I can't sing like Jamani. I'm here actually in two capacities today. As Kirsten said, I'm here representing the Working Families Party. And in that capacity, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues asking that demanding that the DOJ do its job and indict the officers who brutally killed our brother, Eric Garner. I'm also here in another capacity. I'm here as a member of Cop Watch. People have said to me several times, when will this end? It's gonna end when we make it end. We gotta keep the pressure on. We gotta make sure we got our eyes on the cops, so when there's somebody doing something wrong, we know what they're doing. We should have hundreds of folks in every borough who are signing up for Cop Watch. If you're interested, you just go to copwatchnewyorkcity.org, and you know something? If that's not good enough, you can call me, Ed Rush, 917-520-1222, and you can get all the information you need. We need folks. If you can't patrol, you can support a patrol. If you can't support a patrol, we need lawyers. We need everybody to make sure we keep those folks on their toes. Thank you.